आददासीन्नो ददासीत् तदानीन्नासीद्रजो नो व्योमा परोयते मा पारीवक्पुकस्य धर्मन्नम् भक्तिमासीत् गहनम् गभीरम्.
Then non-being was not, nor being. When the mid-world was not, nor the highest heaven, what was it that was covered up? Where? And in whom had it taken refuge? What was that ocean deep and impenetrable? Death was not then nor immortality. There was no knowledge of day nor of night. That was one and lived without the breath by its own fixity. There was nothing else beyond it. Darkness concealed by darkness in the beginning was all this ocean, and perception was not in it. When by littleness it was covered up in chaos, Abva, anything dark, dense and unformed, then that which is one was born by the vastness of its energy. When the Supreme decided to exteriorize himself so that he might see himself, the first thing that he exteriorized out of himself was knowledge of the world and power to create it. In the Supreme Will, there was a plan, and the first principle of this plan was the expression at once of delight and freedom, in their essence, which seemed to be the most interesting character of this creation. Intermediaries were needed to express this delight and freedom through forms, and 4 beings were first brought out to start the world development, which had to be a progressive objectivization of all that is potentially contained in the Supreme. These beings, in the principle of their being, were consciousness and light, life, delight, and love, and truth. As soon as they began their work, they started having their own conception of the work to be done and how it was to be done. Being wholly free, they chose to do it independently. Instead of taking the attitude of a servant and instrument, they naturally took the attitude of a master. And this lapse, I may say, was the first cause, the essential cause of all disorder in the world. And as soon as there was separation, for that was the essential cause of separation, as soon as there was separation between the Supreme and that which had emanated, consciousness was changed into unconsciousness, light into darkness, love into hate, delight into suffering, life into death, and truth into falsehood. The result is the world as we see it. It has been done progressively step by step, and it would be really too long to tell you all that. However, the culmination at the end was matter, obscure, inconscient, miserable. The creative force which had brought out these 4 beings, essentially for the creation of the world, observed what was happening and turned to the Supreme and implored him for the remedy and cure of the evil that had been done. Then the order was given: consciousness to precipitate into the inconscience, love into the suffering, truth into the falsehood. And it was a greater consciousness, a more total love, a more perfect truth than what had emanated in the beginning that now plunged into the horror of matter, to awaken their consciousness and love and light, to begin that movement of redemption which must bring back the material universe to its supreme origin. It is just what preceded the beginning of a conscious creation in the world.
A subtle link of union joins all life. Thus all creation is a single chain. Savitri Book 2, Canto 2. Story of the Creation by the Mother. Questions and Answers, Bulletin, February 1958. When the Supreme decided to exteriorize himself so that he might see himself, the first thing that he exteriorized out of himself was knowledge of the world and power to create it. In the Supreme Will, there was a plan, and the first principle of this plan was the expression at once of delight and freedom in their essence, which seemed to be the most interesting character of this creation. Intermediaries were needed to express this delight and freedom through forms. And 4 beings were first brought out to start the world development, which had to be a progressive objectivization of all that is potentially contained in the Supreme. These beings, in the principle of their being, were consciousness and light, life, delight, and love, and truth. As soon as they began their work, they started having their own conception of the work to be done and how it was to be done. Being wholly free, they chose to do it independently. Instead of taking the attitude of a servant and instrument, they naturally took the attitude of a master. And this lapse, I may say, was the first cause, the essential cause of all disorder in the world. And as soon as there was separation, for that was the essential cause of separation, as soon as there was separation between the Supreme and that which had emanated, consciousness was changed into unconsciousness, light into darkness, love into hate, delight into suffering, life into death, and truth into falsehood. The result is a world as we see it. It has been done progressively, step by step, and it would be really too long to tell you all that. However, the culmination at the end was matter, obscure, inconscient, miserable. The creative force which had brought out these 4 beings, essentially for the creation of the world, observed what was happening and turned to the Supreme and implored him for the remedy and cure of the evil that had been done. Then the order was given: consciousness to precipitate into the inconscience, love into the suffering, truth into the falsehood. And it was a greater consciousness, a more total love, a more perfect truth than what had emanated in the beginning, that now plunged into the horror of matter to awaken their consciousness and love and light, to begin that movement of redemption, which must bring back the material universe to its supreme origin.